At first, no one believed a crime had even occurred. There were no broken doors, no alarms, no surveillance footage of masked intruders. Yet overnight, millions of dollars vanished. The victims weren't banks or jewelry stores. They were users logged into a digital universe, a place where land was bought, avatars were customized, and virtual assets were treated as real investments. When they woke up, everything was gone. Wallets drained, digital property transferred, entire virtual cities emptied. And the criminals? They never stepped foot in the real world. The theft happened inside the metaverse, a sprawling network of online worlds where users trade cryptocurrency, own virtual land, and attend events that feel real enough to matter. The heist unfolded silently, without violence, without witnesses, and without a crime scene. At first, platforms blamed glitches, then user error. But as reports piled up across multiple virtual worlds, one thing became clear. This wasn't an accident. It was a coordinated attack. Victims described logging in to find their accounts locked, their avatars altered, and their digital identities hijacked. Some had invested their life savings into virtual real estate. Others ran businesses entirely inside the metaverse. For them, this wasn't just online. It was everything. Law enforcement hesitated. Jurisdiction was unclear. The criminals could be anywhere or nowhere, operating behind avatars, fake identities, and decentralized systems designed to avoid control. But someone was watching. Pattern began to emerge. Similar methods, similar timing, similar digital fingerprints left behind. Tiny clues buried in code and blockchain records. This wasn't random theft. It was the birth of a new kind of criminal, one who could rob thousands without ever being seen, heard, or physically present. And it was only the beginning. To understand how the heists worked, investigators had to rethink what a crime scene even was. There were no fingerprints, only transaction hashes. No footprints, only server logs. No getaway cars, only disappearing wallets. The criminals exploited weaknesses buried deep inside smart contracts, the automated code that governs ownership in the metaverse. One flaw was all it took: a line of vulnerable code, a permission misconfiguration, a forgotten update. Once inside, the attackers moved fast. They didn't steal randomly. They targeted high-value accounts, early investors, virtual landlords, and businesses holding rare digital assets. In minutes, assets were transferred through dozens of wallets, laundered across blockchains, and converted into untraceable currency. By the time victims realized what happened, the trail was cold. Platforms struggled to respond. Unlike traditional banks, there was no central authority to reverse transactions. The very technology that made the metaverse attractive, decentralization, also made it nearly impossible to police. Some victims tried to fight back publicly. They posted screenshots, transaction records, and emotional pleas online. Others stayed silent, ashamed of losing imaginary property, even though the financial loss was painfully real. As fear spread, trust collapsed. Virtual land prices crashed. Users logged off en masse. Entire digital communities began to fracture under paranoia. Everyone wondered the same thing: who was next? Behind the scenes, cybersecurity analysts began connecting the dots. They noticed repeating wallet behaviors and timing patterns that suggested a small, highly skilled group, not random hackers. This wasn't chaos. It was precision, and someone was pulling the strings. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Hit the notification bell. The most terrifying part of the investigation wasn't the money lost. It was the criminals themselves. They had no names, no faces, no physical location. In the metaverse, identity is optional, and that anonymity became their greatest weapon. The attackers communicated through encrypted channels, used burner wallets, and erased digital footprints with near-surgical precision. Some experts believed the group included former blockchain developers, people who understood the systems better than the companies that built them. Others suspected insiders who knew exactly where the weaknesses were. Then came the rumors. Users claimed to see certain avatars appear shortly before major thefts. Figures dressed in all black, watching silently from virtual rooftops. Whether coincidence or myth, the stories spread fast, adding to the fear. The criminals never taunted their victims. They never bragged. They simply took and vanished. For months, no arrests were made. Law enforcement agencies debated whether these crimes even qualified as theft under existing laws. Jurisdiction battles stalled progress. Meanwhile, the criminals continued operating, refining their methods. But no criminal is perfect. In one major heist, investigators noticed something unusual: a wallet that didn't move funds immediately. Instead, it sat dormant, waiting. That pause would become the mistake that cracked everything open. Blockchain doesn't forget. Even when identities are hidden, every transaction leaves a permanent mark. Investigators focused on the dormant wallet, mapping its connections backward through thousands of transactions. Slowly, a web emerged. The wallet had interacted with a legitimate crypto exchange years earlier, before stricter identity checks were in place. A single week verification process had allowed a real-world identity to brush against the digital trail. It wasn't enough for an arrest, but it was enough to narrow the search. Cybercrime units worked with private analysts, subpoenaing platform records and reconstructing avatar activity across multiple metaverse worlds. Patterns overlapped. Login times matched real-world time zones. The criminals weren't ghosts, they were human. One suspect slipped up again. They reused an encryption key during a rush transaction, a tiny oversight invisible to most, but glaring to experts. That key connected to an online forum account, and eventually to a real IP address. The manhunt had crossed from virtual to physical. Authorities moved carefully. They didn't want to alert suspects who could disappear with a keystroke. When they finally acted, raids were conducted across multiple locations simultaneously. Computers were seized, wallets frozen, servers taken offline. The era of untouchable metaverse criminals was ending. The arrests shocked the tech world. The suspects weren't shadowy masterminds living off the grid. They were ordinary people, programmers, traders, digital freelancers who saw opportunity in a lawless frontier. Courtrooms struggled to keep up. Judges faced cases involving crimes committed entirely in spaces that didn't physically exist. Victims testified about losses that were virtual, yet financially devastating. Some criminals cooperated. Others stayed silent. What became clear was this: the metaverse didn't create crime, it transformed it. These heists forced governments, platforms, and users to confront a new reality. Digital spaces now carry real consequences. Virtual crimes can ruin real lives, and the next criminals are already watching. Smarter, faster, more careful. The question is no longer whether crime will evolve, but whether justice can evolve fast enough to keep up. Because in the metaverse, the next heist won't need guns, masks, or getaway cars. Just code.